Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Muhammad Ikhwan, metric number 1714101, and today our group 8 will going to present our book review about Drive by Daniel H. Pink. So who is Daniel H. Pink? He is an author of 6 provocative books that consist of business and also human behavior. This book, entitled Drive, is the first one of the New York Times bestseller, and it draws 50 years of behavioral science to overturn the conventional wisdom about human motivation. So this book will divide into 3 parts. The first one will be explaining the flaw of the reward and punishment system, or the carrot and sticks system. The second one will be focusing or explaining about the 3 elements containing in this book, and the third one, the third part, will be explaining or give the details on how to use this type I toolkit that will be explained in this book. There are 3 chapters in part 1, so I will present on the chapter 1, which is the rise and fall of motivation 2.0. So before we go into the motivation 2.0, what is motivation 1.0? According to the author, he classified all of our survival living needs, for example like eating, building shelter, seeking shelters, and also hunting, are motivation 1.0. So after a thousand or several years later, motivation 2.0 comes. This happens during the Industrial Revolution period, where innovations and idea generations are occurred. This is the moments that we produce something to get rewards, and also if we didn't do something, it will get the consequences itself. So let me take an example from a scenario which is the where we want to do or to create something like collecting encyclopedias. So there are 2 situations where the first situation where a big company like Microsoft will produce a encyclopedia items like CDs, or produce it online, but being made by well-paid workers, while the other one is being made without being paid, but it's just an open to all people that can add it on the encyclopedia. So in these situations, we can see that the encyclopedia that is open for all is very successful rather than the Microsoft one, even though this encyclopedia is being paid, the workers that make the encyclopedias well paid. So we can see that there are 2 types of motivations that people are being motivated for. So the first one is about extrinsic motivation. This is being explained by the author, by Daniel Pink. He said that extrinsic motivation is about do an actions or something will give the person some consequences. The consequences will be either bad or good, or we can say whether is a reward or also punishment. The second one is about intrinsic motivation, where this motivation comes from our willingness on doing something that in the end will give joy or enjoyment for us, for the person himself. So this motivation, intrinsic motivation, doesn't give anything, neither reward nor punishment when doing something, when finishing doing something. It's just only focusing on the enjoyment and also the satisfaction of ourselves, of the person.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Muhammad Nizam bin Muhammad Nabakri. Today I will review chapter 2 of the book Drive by Daniel H. Pink. Chapter 2 mainly focus on the carrot and stick approach and why doesn't it work. Carrot and stick is a metaphor used for combination of reward and punishment to induce a desired behavior. So why the carrot and stick approach doesn't work, based on the author said, is the Sawyer effect, or the counterintuitive consequences of extrinsic incentive, which means that reward you give doesn't give the outcome that is expected. Okay, the first factor why the carrot and stick approach doesn't work because it can diminish performance. Okay, reward that given to increase motivation maybe can dampen it, and tactic that aim to boost creativity maybe will reduce it because you don't plan it carefully. So when someone doesn't expect a reward, they will do it because they want to do it, but when they expect reward, they will do it because they want the reward, not because they do it. The next factor is carrot and stick approach can foster short-term thinking. In example, when you teach a kid subject like mathematics, then you pay for each page that he do the exercise. In short term, the kid will do the math, but in the long term, maybe the kid will lose interest in the subject that is mathematics. The next point is the carrot and stick can crush creativity because when you see the carrot, you only see the carrot, you cannot see anything else. So they are no longer fully controlling their life. This can be seen in example like commissioned artists and uncommissioned artists. Yeah. The next point is carrot and stick approach can cut out good behavior, which means when you offer reward to something that is a good behavior, the one person will not do it because it tainted the act of doing good and crowd out the intrinsic desire to do something good. But the carrot and stick approach doesn't will sometimes work because, like the author said, someone cannot do a work without a reward that is promised, like a wage, a salary, or insurance, or another benefit to do work. So when there is no motivation at all, that is when the carrot and stick approach can be done. The example is when for a routine task which doesn't require much creativity, like stamping an envelope, replying an email, that doesn't require very much creativity, you can do it, but can provide a reward that can provide small motivational booster without the harmful side effect because it doesn't affect any creativity. That's all for me for the chapter 2.
Okay, so Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Hani Muzamil bin Hamdani, with the metric number of 1815699. So for today, I'm going to talk about chapter 3 and chapter 4 by the book of Drive by Daniel Pink. The author is Daniel Pink. So let's start. So for chapter 3, they talk about there are two types of motivation. There are generally two types of motivation, which is type I and type X. So what is type I and what is type X? let me tell you about type X first. So the first one is extrinsic, or like I said before, type X. Type X is extrinsic or external. So type X personality are driven by fame, status, to have more money, a better grade, more TV time, and so on. They can often be highly successful, but also troubled by an insatiable appetite for more things, materialistic. And while extrinsic motivated do work, they usually do so in the short-term satisfaction only. They can even have a negative holistic effect as people concentrate on the reward only. For example, it decreases the creativity. You also encourage people to cheat and exploit an incentive-based system. But most of people get used to extrinsic. It very fast, because if the motivator is taken away, the behavior stop. On the other hand, we have the second type of motivation, which is type I. What is type I? Type I is intrinsic, or what we call as an internal. So think like satisfaction for a job well done, a sense of accomplishment, purpose, pride, belonging. It is the desire to do something for the internal satisfaction of it. Like for example, just think of a child playing with a toy. They usually not pay to do it. They play toy because of their own curiosity, and enjoyment is enough. They do not think about other else. Type I almost always outperform type X in the long run. This is because type I behavior does not aim for the money or recognition. One reason fair and adequate pay is so essential is that it takes the issue of money off the table, so they can focus on the work itself. That is type I. By contrast, for many type X, money is the table. It is why they want to do what they do. Recognition is similar. So type I, they do not think about the recognition of money. They think about the satisfaction in doing their work. However, type X, they will not do the work if they do not get recognition or any money from it. So type I behavior promote greater physical and mental well-being. Type I have higher self-esteem, better relationship, and are in overall better physical and mental shape. Intrinsic motivation and how to use it is what most of the book is dedicated on. So let's dig deeper in it. So there are three components to intrinsic motivation, which are autonomy, the desire for you to direct your own life; 2, mastery, the pull to make progress and get better at something that matters; and the third one is purpose, the yearning to do what you want to do in the service of something greater than yourself. So what is autonomy? The desire for you to direct your own life, right? So it also can be defined as having a choice in what you do and being self-driven. When people are giving freedom over the 40s, what is 40s? The freedom over tasks, time, technique, and team, the result can be phenomenal. You hear a lot about this type of autonomy in tech companies such as Google, Facebook. Google and Facebook allow their employees to dedicate a certain portion of their working hour to whatever project they want. Of course, within some sort of time limit. This is for example of how Gmail and Google Maps first started. People are naturally wired to be self-driven if they're allowed to choose what they work on, it, and how they accomplish it, and who they work with. They perform much better due to the sense of autonomy. So, if you like the job that you do with the person or the team that you like, that you can cooperate, it will affect the final and the complete work that you done. So that is autonomy. I think that is all from me. Thank you for lending your ears.
Okay, we will continue with chapter 5, mastery. The premise of mastery is the people learn to get better at what they do. Flow is the key to reach mastery, and you reach flow when the tasks are not too easy, neither too difficult. The sweet spot of not too easy and neither too difficult is also the point which we learn the most and the quickest. To continue with it, optimal experience when the challenge we face distinguishedly match with our abilities. Instead of having day-to-day tasks that they are too easy and not too hard. Challenge yourself, but get it done. The too easy tasks that prohibited our growth, whereas the tasks are too hard and add too much complexity to the problem and overwhelm us, which lead to analysis paralysis. The three rules of mastery. Mastery is a mindset because it requires you to see your ability not perfect but infinitely improvable. Mastery is a pain because it requires effort, deliberate practice, failure, trial and error, and grit. Mastery is important because the overall lifetime result it is impossible to fully realize, which makes it frustrating as well as learning. Okay, to continue with chapter 6, purpose. Purpose is a leverage the human desire of being part of something bigger. We reach purpose while doing something matter, doing it well, doing it in the service of large than ourselves. To continue, humans are naturally inclined to seek purpose, to be part of the case, to be part of the greater cause, to make contribution in the world. Traditional business not prioritize purpose and autonomy, which lead to the unfulfilled workers. It much more valuable for an individual and organization to adopt a new method of motivation, that is purpose motivation. Purpose motivation expresses itself in three ways. In work that emphasize beyond self-interest, goals that use your profit to reach the purpose, and policies that allow people to pursue purpose on their own terms. That's all. Thank you.
The part 3 of the book. So part 3 of the book is basically guide us on taking the ideas in this book into action. So there are 3 types of toolkit provided in this book. So first is on type I for individuals, type I for organization, and type I for parents and educators. So if you are doing for yourself, you can use type I for individuals. And if you are boss of a company, you can use type I for organization. And if you are parents or educators or teachers, you can use type 3, which is for parents and educators. So how you can use this toolkit for individuals? First, you can use one of the strategy is ask a big question. What is mean by that? You can ask yourself how you give impact to others and what you contribute to others. So your contribution give impact to society or people surrounding you. So, and you can keep asking the small question. For example, keep asking simple question like, was today me better than yesterday me? Keep repeating this. It can increase your motivation to achieve your goals. Okay, now proceed with the type I for organization. So if you are a boss or a leader in your company, you can use the strategies of design for intrinsic motivation. Design is intrinsic motivation. Basically, you create an environment that makes people feel good about participating. So it also keep a system open as possible to create the work environment from autonomy, pursuit, and purpose. So basically, these three factors are the main factors on how the motivation will enhance. So if you practice this, maybe your worker can be more productive and your company become more greater after this. So I will proceed with the type I for parents and educators. So one of the strategy you can use is give a kit and allowance and some work to do, but don't combine them. So why you don't need to combine the reward and the work? Because if you do that, it will become the interest motivation. So you must give them money to teach them how to responsible with the cash, and you give them work to teach them how they're responsible and have to understanding to work with others later on. But if you combining the allowance and work, it basically lessen the productivity of the work of your children. And the second one is you can turn students into teachers. So try give them the opportunity to teach, because if they understand the topic, they can deliver as well. So if you see the positive progress, you can increase the audience of your work. So try inviting their friends or classmates to join the session. This will boost the confidence and motivation of the student. So basically, this will help the students or the children to become more proactive in their education, and it actually gives a positive impact to it's not only for your children but also their classmates and friends. So for the conclusion, basically this book has discovered
extrinsic and intrinsic motivation. So basically, intrinsic motivation is reward and punishment. So it's work on mechanical and repetitive tasks, but not actually effective on our today's life. So extrinsic motivation is actually counterproductive in complex tasks. So it's only for normal tasks and simple tasks. The idea is you give them the reward after the So next is for intrinsic motivation. Actually, intrinsic motivation already present within us and is fast for you when we're doing the complex tasks in creative work. Because intrinsic motivation basically it comes from us and we're doing it for free without expecting any reward. So intrinsic can be boosted by three factors, which I mentioned just now, which is the autonomy, mastery, and purpose.